Podcast City Network.
This is Final Score, your number one podcast for sports news. Here are your hosts, Chris and Kevin.
Hey guys, and welcome to another exciting episode of Final Score, episode 74, and we finally have everything fixed, everything dealt with, and we're going to have a show. We totally promise this is happening. So, no, this is not a mirage. Do not adjust your television / laptop screens, computer screens, whatever you're using, mobile device, I don't know. It's crazy times here in 2020. But still, we're going to have an episode 74, but I can't do it without the man, the myth, the legend, Kevin Wathen. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing fantastic. I got my National Champs UCF shirt already going here. We have another successful winning Sunday after we destroyed ECU Pirates. I hope, Chelsea, I hope you're watching. Nice dominant performance. So I'm doing good. And hopefully we follow that up with a Lions win over Arizona, but I don't foresee that happening.
Oh, my gosh. Look at you. But you know what? Hey, at least the Lions are there to disappoint you. So, keeps you balanced, right?
It's like Notre Dame for you.
Oh, no, Notre Dame's good. We're 2-0, okay? The Eagles are the 0-2s, okay? We got to keep that straight. But we also had a great surprise that we were able to announce yesterday, I think in some platforms. I don't know. Yesterday was crazy. But we have the other man, the myth, the legend, but I'm sorry, you're not a rugby player, though. Jorge DeMoya, how are you, bud?
That's all right. I am a hockey player, though, so I will take it. At least I cover one of the tougher sports that is out there.
That is
not as tough
true.
as rugby, but I'm sure I could knock out Kevin on skates. That's about it.
I
don't know. Maybe not. Maybe not.
I haven't been on skates in a while, so you probably got the upper hand in that one.
Just a little bit. Just a little.
Just a little? Oh, my God.
Yeah, just a little. Just a little. What can I say? But I am thrilled to be here, boys. We got Stanley Cup Finals is coming to a head. I don't know about you, but I am thrilled for this ending. What a heck of an overtime game.
Are you awake right now, George?
You know what? I'm pretty sure I'm focused on coffee, Red Bull, and the dew of the universe.
There you go.
The dew of the universe. My gosh. You could tell there's something going on with you.
The only way. Yeah, exactly. There's always something, boys. There's always something.
Always something. But you know what? We're going to get this thing rocking and rolling, but we can't do it unless you go and follow us on social media at PCN Final Score on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, and Instagram. Go over, give us a like, give us a follow, share with your friends, invite your friends, leave a comment, tell us how you're doing, drop a picture, be like, hey guys, I'm with Final Score, and just post it. We're all about it. We love it. So go ahead, jump on there, check it out, and hit us up. But it is now time for the man, the myth, the legend, to bring us the rugby review.
Yeah, we finished up with the final round of the NRL, their regular season matchups. On Thursday, we had the North Queensland taking down the Brisbane Broncos 32-16. The Brisbane Broncos get handed the wooden spoon for being the worst team in the league. It was actually cool at their training grounds. A bunch of fans of the Brisbane Broncos very perturbed by their performance this year. It's actually their worst performance ever in club history. They went and threw a bunch of wooden spoons on their training grounds. So kind of cool there to all the Brisbane haters. On Friday, we had the Gold Coast Titans taking down the Newcastle Knights 36-6. We had my South Sydney Rabbitohs back in the winners column, 60 points over Sydney Roosters, only scoring 6 in that matchup. Sydney Roosters got off to a hot start, putting up the converted try, and it was 6-0 right out of the gates. And then South Sydney, 60 unanswered points. It is the biggest margin of victory against the Sydney Roosters in club history. So huge win by the Rabbitohs going into the final series. The Saturday matchups, the Panthers taking down the Bulldogs 42-0. The Raiders taking out the Sharks 38-28. the Parramatta Eels taking out the West Tigers to wrap up Saturday, 28-24. We got into these morning matchups. Our New Zealand Warriors, good on them. Very proud of this team for dedicating the season over in Australia. For most of you guys that don't know, they had to be in Australia for the remainder of the season while that kicked off. And they've been in Australia. They haven't been able to go home since we kicked off the season on the restart. And they win over the Manly Sea Eagles to wrap up their season 40-28. And then the last matchup this morning that just went final not too long ago, the St. George Dragons, get this, 30 points over the Melbourne Storm, 22. Sorry, Chris.
You're good. Things happen. You can't win them all. You can't win them all.
Yeah.
And the Eagles proved that. All right.
Yeah, the Storm going into this matchup, but obviously resting a bunch of players to get ready for the final series. So, and that's what we kind of saw with scorelines going past that. I know South Sydney put up 60 points on the Roosters.
Oh, yeah.
But again, the Roosters are resting some players for the final series. But you definitely don't want to get waxed that bad because you might have to see the Rabbitohs later on in the final series. The NRL final ladder for the regular season, Panthers at the top with 37 points, Storm in the number 2 spot with 32, the Eels rounding out number 3 with 30 points, Roosters and Raiders both tied with 28 points, the Rabbitohs in the 6th spot with 24 points, and Knights in the 7th spot, 23 points, and the Sharks at the bottom of the top 8 and 20 points. So that brings us to our final series, our playoffs, that kick off next weekend, starting on Friday, October the 2nd. The Panthers are taking on the Sydney Roosters. In Game 2 on Saturday, we have the Canberra Raiders taking on the Cronulla Sharks. They're on October the 3rd. The second game on Saturday, we have your Storm, Chris, taking on the Parramatta Eels. And then Game 4 on Sunday, I have my South Sydney Rabbitohs taking on the Newcastle Knights. So most of our listeners that just got into rugby, I'm going to kind of give you the rundown on the final series. You have the top 4 that play each other, and then you have the bottom 4 that play each other. So a lot different than our structure here in the United States. And the top 4 have they can lose and stay in it. So it's double knockout for them. The bottom 4, if you're in the Rabbitohs position, if you lose, you're out. So kind of interesting structure on the NRL, but so that you guys can follow along. So the bottom 4 play each other. If they lose, they're automatically out. If you're in the top 4, you have a double elimination on that. So great to see. These matchups are going to be amazing. So if you do not have access to NRL yet, make sure you go to NRL.com and subscribe for the final series. You can get a subscription similar to Netflix that will carry you on through the playoffs. And you also get State of the Origin, which is going to kick off right after this series. And the grand final is going to kick off October the 25th. So it's 4 straight weekends of playoff rounds, which is going to be awesome, hard-hitting action throughout. I just shot a text before we kicked off here on the podcast to the head coach of the USA Hawks. I'm still waiting on a response, but I heard on the domestic side, we're supposed to have a match here soon in October where the Jacksonville Axemen are going to take the pitch against a motley crew of Southside players. So hopefully while we're doing the show, I get a text. I keep on checking my phone to see if it's come through yet and get more details on that for our listeners. But that wraps up the rugby review for today's episode. Make sure you guys stay tuned for all things on that first round of the playoffs next weekend, starting on Friday.
No, that's definitely awesome stuff. And, man, you're going to have to watch out for the Storm. I think we're going to take it.
No.
Oh, he's flexing already. It's so early. It's
a bright, sunny day. It's a total 180 from last week. So
lightning.
It's flex day.
Yeah. Then we get to 2:00 when the Eagles are down 14 and he's crying.
The Cincinnati. No, we'll get to that in a little bit. But there's something else epic that's been happening with you, Mr. Wathen, and that is Wathen Fitness. What can you tell us about that?
I have a online. So since quarantine, obviously, shut the gyms down and we've had this disruption in our workouts, I devised a plan with my wife to start up a online fitness program and nutrition as well. So we post about one workout a day, along with nutritional tips, recipes to help get you on the right track with your fitness goals, with your fitness plans. I am NASM certified. If you guys don't know what that is, that's the National Academy of Sports Medicine. It's the top certification you can get for personal training. If you guys want to join the online page, you can find me at wathenfitness@gmail.com or on Facebook. You can message me. You can also reach me by cell at 904-325-5588. That's 904-325-5588. I might regret putting that out there. I have some fans hit me up.
It's already happening. I'm gonna start sending them like crazy gifts of Lion players just getting rocked.
DeAndre Swift on the one memes. I've already gotten plenty of those.
You've gotten those? Oh,
yeah.
Oh, well, you're going to get some more now.
Oh, man. Speaking of football, though, we had Thursday Night Football this past week, and Dolphins-Jags definitely was looking to be a little bit of a snoozer, but tell you what, one man who did not disappoint, Ryan Fitzpatrick, man. This guy, Fitzmagic himself, seemingly being the most consistently inconsistent quarterback there is, literally goes out, starts out 12 for 12, and ends up just putting up a great stat line, 18 for 20, 160 yards, 2 touchdowns. Oh, and he toted that rock 7 times for 38 yards and another score. So really a great showing by him. What do you guys think about this? George, we'll start with you.
Well, hello. Let's first off start about what a phenomenal move this is for Ryan Fitzpatrick and for Tua to be sitting there on the sidelines and seeing what it takes to rally these troops and to really play for each other and just never freaking give up. Tua is on the sideline. He's laughing at Ryan Fitzpatrick when he dives headfirst into the end zone at 30-something years old, like no fear. He's seeing what it means to take over, and he's seeing what it means to battle through adversity, which is all Ryan Fitzpatrick all day. So I really like where this Dolphins team is headed. I like the young guys around it. Gaskin is a beast. Back there, he's shifty.
Mm-hmm.
He's a very good running back. You got receivers to rely on. Howard is going to be like my fantasy sleeper nowadays because he's just going to just fall into the end zone. He has, 3 touchdowns on like 5 carries or something like that for maybe 5 yards. I don't even know what the stats are. But, I really like the Dolphins team right now. Their defense stepped up after a couple embarrassing weeks. So, all this Minshew talk that you boys are doing up there. I know there was plenty of Minshew talk last week with Kev. And where'd he go, man? Where'd he go?
Mm-hmm.
They don't show up when it's prime time. Let's just put it that way. And don't get ahead of yourself, George. You played the Jaguars. You played a team full of rookies that shipped off Leonard Fournette, shipped off Jalen Ramsey, shipped off Calais Campbell, shipped off all their top players. They are out. It's a team full of rookies. Minshew leading it as well, and he's only a second-year player out of Washington State. So slow your roll down because next weekend the Dolphins have to take on Seattle, and we all know the result that's going to be.
That's a W.
Well, we got to be. Oh my gosh, you're talking crazy over here. But to be fair, though, the Jags have been very open about the fact that they are going through a rebuild. It's not like they're like, "Hey guys, we think we could put out a winner." They know that. They know that this is probably going to be a very down year. And Minshew brings a little bit of that mustache magic that helps put butts in the seats virtually, I guess. I don't know. Either way, though, there was some butts in the seats, just not a whole lot.
Well,
but
25%.
Yeah. That's good for a Jags game.
Capacity. It looked way more than 25% because people in Duval County probably don't know how to count public school.
Dang.
Dude, big dig.
Yeah. Every time they're on prime time. And look at Fitzpatrick's record against the Jaguars. 6 different teams, 6 straight wins. I mean, he's got some like voodoo magic over the Jaguars.
Dare we say it's Fitzmagic?
Yeah.
There you go. It is a little bit of Fitzmagic. But you know what? It was an entertaining game for Thursday Night Football. That's for sure. It was. At least.
Entertaining for the refs with all the penalties.
That's true.
Good God, there's so many stoppages on this.
I see the Jags and the Dolphins as upcoming teams in the coming years if they stick to this game plan with some of the rookies that they have out there.
Yeah, I really like that Robinson out of Illinois State that's toting the rock there in Jacksonville. That kid is a bright spot among this team.
Oh, yeah.
How does Cam Robinson, though, late in this game, how does he get ejected for touching a ref when the ref is laying on top of him trying to get to the ball to see where the turnover was at, and he gets ejected? Like, that's kind of questionable.
Yeah, I and to be honest, from that perspective, when you're looking at it, he didn't know it was a ref. He thought it was another Dolphin player over on top of him, and he was just pushing his hand up.
Yep, exactly. And he's sitting on the bench, and he is making that motion. And he's like, and he's telling the coach, you could mouth his word, like you could read his lips perfectly. He said, I thought it was a Dolphins player.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
It wasn't anything malicious. He was just pushing the arm up off of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. But, massive credit to James Robinson over there. He's a beast. He's taking Peaky Blindsiders all the way to the top of the fantasy football world. Nobody had him. He was on the waiver wire, swooped him up, paired him up with Kamara, and I am good to go.
I have not looked at my fantasy team since Thursday night because I made a horrible mistake. I have 2 quarterbacks on my roster, Gardner Minshew being one of them.
What?
I picked
your first mistake.
Yeah, mistake
Patrick
1.
Mahomes being the other. And I'll let you guys guess what I did.
No, you didn't.
No.
Yes, I did.
Why?
I'm like, Minshew is going to go off on the primetime lights. They're hyping him up. I drank the Kool-Aid, and I started him.
You drank that Kool-Aid hard, sir. He threw for only just over 66%. So the dude, and a pick, no touchdowns. What were you thinking?
Yeah. I was not thinking, apparently. I was dressed in all teal. I had the mustache going. I was not thinking.
It's okay, though, because you know what? We're going to go ahead and we're going to see what you think about some of these games coming up today, because there's a full slate of games for week 3. And there's going to be a lot of good ones, I think, including the Eagles, who are going to take it home. We're not losing to Cincinnati, just saying. Even though we haven't beaten Cincinnati since, 2000. Anyways, all that aside... all that aside, though, it's gonna make for some great stuff. But before we talk about that, we do have to talk real quick about a great sponsor of ours, the Jacksonville State's Australian Football Club. Those guys, some great guys over there. So we're gonna take a moment and give them a shout out for being just such a great sponsor of Final Score. You can make sure to check out the Saints on Facebook at facebook.com/JackSaintsUSAFL for the latest news, practice times, game info, and don't forget to hit the like and follow button. And while you're there, you can also contact them directly by emailing the team at JacksonvilleSaintsUSAFL@gmail.com for more info. And they've had a lot of announcements coming out lately on their social media, so definitely check them out. They got a lot of stuff still going on through all the pandemic, so check them out. But NFL Week 3, we're going to look at our 1 o'clock slate, and it's going to be a doozy. We're going to kick right off, though, with the 2-0 Chicago Bears at the 0-2 Atlanta Falcons. George, quick take, and who do you think wins it?
You know what? I really do have to say that I don't want to drink the Kool-Aid yet, like Kevin says on Mitchell Trubisky.
Don't you dare.
I kind of want to, but then I don't. I really do think, though, the Atlanta Falcons are actually going to come out of this one. Calvin Ridley has been nothing but a beast. Russell Gage has been, phenomenal. I don't think the Falcons go 0-3. Their backs are against the wall right now, and they are going to come out swinging. I'm not sure about Julio Jones' status, if he's going to play or not, but sometimes he's even better as a decoy.
Mm-hmm.
So, I just have him run deep and then just keep bringing Gage and Ridley underneath. And those two are going to have monster games. Atlanta takes this one.
Oh, man. Kevin, what do you think?
I think Atlanta's too banged up, and they do go 0-3 today. Julio Jones, obviously listed as questionable. They have Khalid McGarry out, also questionable with tackle. Then on the defensive side, they got 3 guys out, 2 DNs, Dante Fowler being one of them, and then Olakun is also out. They're all listed as questionable. So if those guys play, they might have a chance. But you're talking the Falcons team that has allowed 39 points per game so far this season. So they do not have a defense. They're banged up on defense, and I think Mitchell Trubisky keeps on going. The only question mark I have on the Bears right now is Khalil Mack. right now. If he gives it a go today, if Khalil Mack gives it a go, he's going to give Matty Ice there a run for his money. And I think the Bears take this one in a close one, though.
Oof. I don't know if I can agree with that. I think, honestly, it's going to be hard. For the sake of my fantasy team, I have to go Falcons. Come on, Matt Ryan. I need you right now. So we'll definitely see how it works out, though. But I do agree. Khalil Mack, I think, is going to be a very big key to this game. If he goes today, he's going to give that offense a lot of trouble. He's a very disruptive player and has proven so game after game. So we'll definitely see how this one plays out. I think it's going to be a close game no matter what, but I'm going to take Falcons by 3 just because that offense, honestly, is getting ready to bust through. And like you said, with Julio being able to be a decoy, Calvin Ridley steps up and is able to be that guy when needed. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see how that works out. Our next game, though, we have the 2-0 LA Rams traveling to Buffalo to take on the 2-0 Bills. This one's definitely going to be very interesting and I think could really show if Josh Allen's all about it. What's your guys' take? Kevin, we'll start with you.
I am very excited about this matchup for this week. This is probably my go-to game, and it doesn't seem like the glamorous, glittery pick. Obviously, they're playing up there in Buffalo. I'd like to see this stadium jam-packed of Bills fans screaming and yelling their heads off, and we would probably have a more exciting matchup here. Cam Akers, however, is out for the Rams as running back, so they're going to be hopefully airing the ball out with Goff a little bit more than they have done. But these guys are like neck and neck with statistics. Total yards, Rams 443, Bills 468. So I'm excited about this matchup. I think the Bills take it by a field goal over the Rams, however, because of the travel.
George, what do you think?
I have to say I enjoy, and God, this pains me, man. I'm a Dolphins fan through and through, and I know my buddy freaking Rafi's sitting there going, "Go Bills," because he's a maniac. But Josh Allen is legit, man. I've seen these two games. I will drink the Kool-Aid. I am not drinking it with Trubisky going 2-0, but with Allen, I'm all in. That guy has been nothing but a beast. His accuracy has been great. He's known when to force it, when not to force it. His decision making is really where I've seen it step up. He's
finally got a weapon. He's finally got a weapon in Diggs.
Yeah, but it's not just that. Diggs provides that security, but he's had John Brown underneath also.
Yeah,
that's been a huge help.
So he's had a few weapons, but when you're able to stretch out the field, when you have somebody like Diggs, it just adds, so much comfortability back there for him. And then on top of that, dude, he can just take off when he wants to.
Literally.
And he can just pull it down. And I mean, he's making great decisions. I see the Bills taking this one, man, and going 3-0 and really being the talk of the NFL. If it wasn't for Monday Night Football, this is game of the week.
Oh, man, that's a huge claim. But this game, honestly, the Buffalo Bills defense has also been coming up. And that's one thing that you have to look at because LA has been kind of going through a transition of sorts ever since they made the Super Bowl. They've just been kind of having this little flux of players going on. Now they don't have the running back anymore. Wide receivers have been changing up. Defense is changing up a little. But you still have certain guarantees. And let's not forget Aaron Donald. And Aaron Donald is going to end up being a huge disruption. And this is what's really going to test Allen. If Allen is a true quarterback, he's going to have to be able to perform while having a guy the caliber of Aaron Donald all up in his face. So if he can do that and they can show that they can get this offense humming against a tough test in this defense, Bills can end up taking this one, and I think they will take this one. It's only going to be maybe a 2-3 point game, but Bills are going to take it. But our next game, when you see what we got here, oh gosh, this team of all teams, the Washington football team, 1-1, traveling to Cleveland to take on the 1-1 Browns. Yeah, I hate the football team right now, so I can't even say anything right now. George, what do you think?
All right, well, let's just call it what it is. Baker Mayfield is not legit. You cannot sit here and tell me that this dude is a great quarterback. All right, he has every weapon around him to be successful. Right now, he's a Joe Flacco. He just needs to hand the ball off to Kareem Hunt and to Nick Chubb if they even want a shot. Browns in this one over the Washington Football Club, because I'm a rugby and a soccer fan, and they are not the Washington football team. They are the Washington Football Club.
I like it. Kevin, your take.
If Mayfield plays like he did against, obviously it was Cincinnati, but if he plays like he did against Cincinnati, I think Cleveland has a shot in this one. I do like Dwayne Haskins, though, the way he's been playing ball this weekend. But Mayfield's way too up and down for me. It's like riding a roller coaster. And like George said, all the weapons around him, and you do not know what performance is coming out of him. He kind of reminds me of a Blake Bortles Jacksonville Jaguars team when everything was there on paper to win the ball game, and you just have that big old question mark at quarterback. You don't know what performance you're going to get. You don't know if you're going to get 2017 December Blake Bortles, or let's throw 3-4 picks in the regular season during a single game.
Mm-hmm. Well, definitely could end up turning out that way. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out with this. I think no matter what, you're going to have to rely, if you're Cleveland, on Chubb to be able to run that rock, on Kareem Hunt to be able to be a contributor, which he was a huge contributor last week and the week before. So you look at this team, they have more than enough weapons, I think, to be able to make up for the Baker Mayfield factor. However, I don't think Baker is that horrible of a quarterback, because let's really look down the timeline of Browns quarterbacks. Remember, they had a guy named Johnny Football. Yeah, everybody remember that guy and how horrible he was? Hey, let's take it back and I'll dig it myself. Brady Quinn. There you go. That guy was supposed to be a top 3 pick, drops to 22nd, and ends up being one of the most garbage quarterbacks they ever had. So,
what college did he come from?
It's not the college, it's the franchise. Let's remember this, okay? We can't all be winners. Where'd Joe Montana go to college? So at the end of the day, though, Cleveland, I think, has more pieces around them to be able to win this game than Washington does. Washington's relying on still a very unproven quarterback. Alex Smith cannot save the day. You do not have, I feel, enough there to be able to do anything. Really, all they have that I feel it's going to be serviceable is, Chase Young, who already has 2.5 sacks on the season. So unless you can get Chase Young to literally, demolish the quarterback every single play, then it's probably not going to happen.
Which he can do.
Which he has the ability.
Where did Chase Young go to school? I think it's, where did he go to school?
Chris, Ohio State.
Yeah, the Ohio State, right?
That team down south.
Team down south. Listen to that little Wolverine.
I don't think Craig would like that one. He's shivering right now.
Hey, remember who's already playing football? We're already 2-0. Anyways,
already playing football. You didn't play yesterday.
We had to take a small break due to some illness concerns that we'll cover a little bit. Anyways, it's going to be some great stuff, man. It's all right. It's going to be great. We're going to be number 5 when the new rankings come out. So looking at this game, though, I still think Cleveland can beat the football team, and I think Cleveland's going to end up taking this one by at least 1 touchdown. You have more than enough talent to be able to make it happen. So next game, Tennessee Titans 2-0, traveling to Minnesota to take on the 0-2 Vikings. Many are surprised by that one. George, what's your take?
I'm not completely surprised by the Minnesota Vikings. Kirk Cousins has been known to go hot and cold. And when he goes cold, he is a turnover machine. Mm-hmm. And right now, that is his status. And if they can't get Dalvin Cook going, then he's not going to get any better either. They need to get that running game going if they want any kind of a shot. I like the Tennessee Titans in this game. I think Derrick Henry versus that D-line of the Minnesota Vikings is going to be the key to the game and going to be the battle. And I think Henry wins it. And he just comes out on top, and he just wears them out. Because the defense is going to be on the field way too many times when Kirk Cousins throws 5 picks.
Very well could happen. Very well could happen. Kevin, your take.
Yeah, the Tannehill is going to have a surprisingly good game in this matchup, I think, passing the ball. It's usually the Derrick Henry show there in Tennessee. Just hand the ball off 30-plus times and see where that takes us. Obviously, it took him a very long way last season. He's already got 200 yards on the year, but he hasn't found the end zone yet. So I think Derrick Henry finally finds the end zone in this one. I think he comes away with about 2 touchdowns against a depleted Minnesota Vikings team, especially in their secondary. They got Mike Hughes out and Cameron Dancer in the secondary. So I think there's just too many holes there to fill in Minnesota, and Minnesota drops to 0-3 like my Detroit Lions are about to go.
Yeah, I honestly have to agree. When you look at Minnesota and their makeup, it's just there's too much going on, too many injuries, too many shortfalls. This is going to be the Derrick Henry show, because Derrick Henry, one thing he is extremely good at is getting to the second level, and that's where Minnesota is hurting most. So as long as you can keep getting Derrick Henry to the second level, you're going to see bust-out runs left and right from Tennessee, and they're going to dominate this game. And Tennessee will roll on to 3-0. So our next game, and I think this one's going to be quite interesting just because of a lot of the implications and what this could mean. And, man, it could mean we actually have a good Raiders team. But the Las Vegas Raiders at 2-0 travel to New England all the way into Foxborough to take on the 1-1 Cam Newton-led Patriots. And this one's going to be very interesting. Kevin, what's your take?
I'm going to go Raiders on this one, surprisingly. I watched them play on Monday night. I watched them play a damn good football team, and they came away victorious on that one. And I'm going to go with the Raiders. You have Derek Carr, who's playing lights out right now. His 50 of 68 on the season, 523 yards and no interceptions on this one against what John Gruden liked to call a power forward at quarterback in Cam Newton. So a little shot there, but we've known in the past, do not take shots at the Patriots because they will scheme you to death. But I think the Raiders riding that high for Monday night against the New Orleans Saints, I think they go into New England and take this one. It's going to be close. I think it's going to be a field goal game, but I'm going with the Raiders.
Oh, man. George, what do you think?
I'm with it, man. We got a comment here. Brandon Madero saying Raiders with exclamation points, and I am in on the Raiders as well. Derek Carr manages the game very well, and they use the running game to take away at the clock. You got two very good coaches here, and it's going to be a chess match. Bill Belichick has always been known to be constantly prepared, no matter what the situation is, and he is going to be prepared. But I think Gruden is going to have a few things up his sleeve, and he has more talent on his end, and that is going to help him out when it comes to managing the game clock. And Carr is going to help him with that too. He's not going to try to force it. He's not going to try to do anything too crazy. He's going to take his time, pick his spots, and Raiders by a field goal.
Man, making it close. Oh, man, I don't know. This game's going to be interesting.
Wait, is he still playing?
I was about to say, Seabreeze alumni there.
Oh, my gosh, killing me. But the Raiders, as long as they can keep control of that clock with Josh Jacobs in that running game, I think they'll be fine all day long. Derek Carr is showing that he can still be a very serviceable quarterback. I knew people who said that he was one of the most garbage quarterbacks there was in all of the NFL, and I'm like, really? Derek Carr? He's not David Carr. Come on now, let's be real. But when you look at New England and what they were able to do with Cam Newton so far, being able to challenge Seattle seriously, almost won that game. And I keep telling people, he just bounces it out to the left. That's a touchdown, but whatever. Either way, though, New England always finds a way to win, and I think they're going to start finding a way to win with their power forward there at quarterback. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, but I still think that when you look at the makeup of the Las Vegas Raiders, they, in my eyes, are a more complete team all the way around than what you currently have with the Patriots. Because the Patriots, even though you have Cam Newton, which is definitely would have been an upgrade over whatever else they have on the roster for quarterbacks, you still don't have a great stable of wide receivers to be able to complement him. So people are still going to key on the run. You don't have the greatest of running backs. They're serviceable, but they're not great. And the offense is honestly way behind in that manner, and behind a lot of teams in the NFL. So I still think that Vegas has the edge, and Raiders are going to take this one by at least a field goal. So we'll see how it plays out. But the next game we have on the docket, San Francisco 49ers at 1-1, traveling to MetLife to take on the Giants, who are 0-2. Not a big shock there. Definitely going to be an interesting matchup. Do the 49ers right the ship? George, your take.
They do not right the ship because they have nobody playing for the 49ers right now. As a matter of fact, I went and I tried out, and they said I was too short. I can throw about 10 yards easily. I can throw a 10-yard out.
Hey man, get those 10-yard dump offs.
I could do a few check downs, but it's not going to help. The Niners are just way too beat up right now. But then again, so are the Giants. Without Saquon Barkley, huge loss overall for the NFL. We've had some injuries that have just been devastating. This is a game that you don't even need to watch, ladies and gentlemen. It's not gonna be entertaining. Giants find a way to win. Maybe Daniel Jones shows up. Who knows? But I got the Giants in this one.
Kevin, your take.
This is the toilet bowl of the week. It's going to be a low-scoring matchup. I'm going to say a field goal game, just kicking field goals back and forth. And I think the Niners squeak out a close win in this one. I think it's going to be like something around the scoreline of 9-6, just because there's way too many injuries on both sides of the ball.
Oof. Honestly, the way I see this, if the Giants had any chance to ever win a football game against a team that is supposed to be good, now is the time to do it. And the big thing I see is that the Giants actually have most of their team, even though they don't have Saquon. They went out and got Devontae Foreman now, so they got him filling in at running back, which honestly I think was a brilliant move.
Foreman.
Yeah.
Who's Foreman? Freeman?
Originally Freeman, now he's just a
Freeman,
foreman.
sorry. Now he's a foreman. Well, he has his work cut out for him in that backfield. So at the end of the day, it's going to be like he is a foreman. But either way, no, Freeman definitely is going to make, I think, a bigger impact than people are expecting. And I think it's going to be a lot of simple run up the middles, run outside the edge. Just really putting it in his hands and letting him just go play some football, because there's no Bosa to worry about. There's no really threat from the offense at this point. So I feel at this juncture, if you're going to beat a team, now's the time to do it. And I think the Giants are actually going to take this one, and I think they're going to take it by a touchdown. My shock of the day in this toilet bowl.
There you go.
So from one toilet bowl to possibly another, the Cincinnati Bengals at 0-2 travel to Philadelphia to take on my Eagles, who are also 0-2. And this is probably realistically the toilet bowl game of the week. Carson Wentz been looking like garbage throughout the first couple weeks of the season, at one point getting sacked 8 times by the football team, and it's absolutely insane to see how far this team has fallen. There's already talks of trading Alshon. They have injuries now left and right happening. It's looking like it's going to be a dismal season. I'll give my take in a minute. George, what's yours?
I'm going to tell you my take, and that is that the Philadelphia Eagles come out on top, and Jalen Hurts runs for a couple touchdowns.
Oh.
I mean, at this point, man, you look like a college football team. You might as well run a triple option in the spread and have Wentz and Hurts run it with Miles Sanders as your third guy, because that offensive line is just atrocious.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you do when you have a bad offensive line? You spread it out. I see the Eagles possibly doing that. They come up with a good game plan, and they pull this one out. But it's going to be close because the Bengals are going to fight for it. Joe Burrow looking for that first NFL win, and he wants it. He's going to be a good quarterback in the future, and he wants to show that he's heading in the right direction. So, but Eagles by 3.
Kevin, your take.
Somebody needs to give Burrow some ice for that arm. Already completing 97 passes on the year in 2 games. So I think Joe Burrow airs it out against the Eagles. I think he finally picks up his first NFL victory in this one, because like Chris said, the Eagles are hot garbage right now. And I don't see that getting any better with the way Wentz has been throwing to the other team with 4 interceptions. Looks like a true Blake Bortles.
Well, things happen.
All right. Now, talk to us. It's going to be a tough one. I understand. Do we need to put you on the therapy couch here? Do we need to have a session?
We might.
Talk us
we
through
might.
it, buddy. Talk us through it.
0-3 is looking real, and that's a sad thing. But I agree that, excuse me, that when you look at the makeup of it, the Eagles should have a team that statistically, stats-wise, talent-wise, everything-wise, should be able to win this game. But I don't feel confident in that. It makes it hard, especially when you have a lot of guys that have been out. Offensive line's been decimated. We're already missing a guard, 2 tackles. Defensively, we're missing a defensive tackle, defensive end, linebacker, secondary players. There's things happening all the way around. And, let's not forget all the wide receiver issues we have right now. So it's definitely going to be a fight if we want to stay in this game. The tight ends are going to have to come up huge with Dallas Goedert and Zach Ertz. But honestly, Hurts may end up getting into this one if Wentz shows that he cannot do it. And I know it's only week 3, and that sounds crazy as I have a Wentz jersey overlooking my shoulder. But at the end of the day, if you can't get it done, next man in. And that's something I always have believed in, no matter what level of play you're at, whether it is high school, whether it is college, whether it is pro, whether it's even amateur, it doesn't matter. If you can't get the job done, next man in. So, I'm not saying it's time for Hurts, but it's time to change things up. So,
and maybe it wakes up Wentz a little bit. Maybe it shocks him into, some realization like, holy crap, my jersey is about to get burned.
Yeah, because he's been way too interested in, having a baby and getting married and living his little North Dakota life or whatever it is. But at the end of the day, we got football games to win, bro. Like, remember, Foles won that Super Bowl, not you. So let's get this going. So looking at our next game, though. Oh, yeah, official pick, though. Eagles by 3. Got to do it.
There you go.
But in our last 1 o'clock game, we have the 0-2 Houston Texans taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are 2-0 and looking great in Heinz Field. George, what's your take?
This is shout out to my younger brother ADM, who's a big Steel Nation fan, and the Steelers are going to go 3-0. Big Ben has something to prove. He's showing that he's not done. You know, there was a lot of talk about his injury last year, and that he's going to be done. That's it. No more Big Ben. They need to bring in somebody new. They need to bring in Rudolph or whatever. No. This is Big Ben's team. This is a reincarnation of that Super Bowl run that they had with those receivers, Washington, Juju, and Johnson, who's a very, very good rookie. I think Big Ben throws for 4 or 5 touchdowns today and just completely runs over a very old Houston Texans defense.
Very interesting take.
Come on.
He's getting up there.
Kevin, what do you think?
They beat the Giants and the Broncos. Hold your roll. Like, then they barely beat the Giants and the Broncos. The Steelers are not back. Look at the Texans. They had to come out against the Chiefs and the Ravens as their first 2 games. A brutal schedule. They go into Pittsburgh and they handle Deshaun Watson runs and passes all over them. The Houston Texans moved to 1-2. Steelers pick up their first loss of the season because they played 2 cupcakes to open up the season. I don't even know Denver's quarterback now. I think they just signed Blake Bortles to a deal.
They did.
Super Bowl right there. Blake Bortles, best quarterback of all time.
Steelers fans, oh yeah, we're 2-0. Giants and Broncos, come on now.
Yeah, it's wow. Yeah, wow. Blake Bortles, man. Blake Bortles. Anyways, but if you look at the reality though with this game, the Texans have played a brutal schedule to this point. You can't really put them up against any tougher of teams to start the season than the 2 they played. Now, Pittsburgh, though, is no slouch either. Yes, they played 2 cupcakes, but they have a team that can win, and they, I think, have found their new shiny pony receiver in Chase Claypool out of Notre Dame, and he's going to end up being a game changer for them because one thing Steelers are good at, they're good at drafting late-round wide receivers that end up becoming budding stars, and he's going to end up being a game changer. However, it's still not going to be enough, and I have to agree that the Texans are going to take this, but it's going to be close. This is going to be a battle. It's going to show that Pittsburgh is back and compete. But at the end of the day, the Texans have been there, and they're going to be the team that wins, and they're going to win it. It's going to be close. I'm telling you, it's going to be like a 1-point, maybe a 2-point game. But Texas take this one. But looking at our next slate of games in the 405 slot, we have the 0-2 Jets. Those still exist at the Indianapolis Colts, who are 1-1. Kevin, your take.
Colts in this one, even though Marlon Mack is out for the season, I think they hand the ball off a lot to Taylor on this one, who's having a good season thus far. Phillip Rivers, I think, can kind of revert. It looks like old age is catching up on him, though. But I think he has a good outing in this one against a abysmal Jets team. And I think the Colts take this one big by 2 touchdowns.
George, what do you think?
Absolutely. Jonathan Taylor on the Peaky Blindsiders. He goes for 3 touchdowns just because I want more fantasy points. And hey, man, I gotta keep up with the wife. If not, she's gonna dominate the league again. What can I say? I like the Colts. I think they established the running game, and Rivers doesn't have to try to be 20-something years old and throw the ball 50 times. And if he doesn't throw it, he doesn't get a pick 6. So Colts in this one for sure.
Yeah, looking at this game, the Colts, I feel, do have the clear advantage. The Jets are a hot mess, even though I feel Darnold has kind of shown he is a decent quarterback. It's just not enough, though, when you're looking at the Indianapolis Colts, the defense, and what they can also do offensively. Phillip Rivers has been slinging that football to start the season. The Colts definitely are going to take this one. Multiple scores. I'm going to say at least 2 touchdowns. Colts end up taking this one. In our other 405 game, we have the Carolina Panthers at 0-2, traveling out to SoFi Stadium, that brand new shiny place, the home of the LA Chargers, who are 1-1. George, what do you think?
This is an interesting one. Unfortunately, the Carolina Panthers do not have Christian McCaffrey, and that is what's going to hurt them. This dude is easily a MVP caliber type player because without him, you're just a big old dumpster fire, but with him, you are a competitor. You are a contender. And right now, they don't have him. I think the San Diego Chargers. Oh, I'm sorry. I can't help myself. The Los Angeles Chargers pull this one out. I really do like this rookie QB. I'm not sure if he's starting yet. I don't know if the word was out, but Herbert's solid, dude. He's a solid QB. I think he manages the game well. Eckler comes up big, and the Chargers win this one.
Kevin, what do you think?
I'm stoked for this matchup. I love to see Justin Herbert, the way he slung the ball around against the Chiefs and almost came away of beating the defending Super Bowl champions in that one. He should have. I do not like the coaching, however, out in Los Angeles. The fact that he was trying to go with Tyrod Taylor early on in this week. Tyrod Taylor, George, is listed as out for this game, so we're going to see Justin Herbert on the start. But this is my 4 o'clock matchup. I'm excited to see this one. I'm excited to see what Herbert can do with actually a full week of planning and practice under his belt, and see what this kid can do out of Oregon. And I think, like you said, they're going to hand off the ball a lot to kind of take pressure off the rookie. They're going to give him a lot of short yardage routes. Henry's in there playing pretty decent up to this far. But Bridgewater's going to give him a run. Bridgewater, I think they're going to have him moving outside of the pocket, using his legs as well as his arm. So Bridgewater keeps this thing close, but I think the Chargers win by 7.
Yeah, with this matchup, the Panthers being without Christian McCaffrey really does put Bridgewater in a pickle, though, because they don't have the greatest receiving help either. And when you look at how much they're going to have to put on Teddy Bridgewater to try and win this game, it may end up being too much, and you're going to do one of two things. You're either going to injure the guy, or he's going to end up being too gassed, and they're going to key on him so hard that you're not going to be able to do anything. You set up one good QB spot, you know they're not going to hand it off that often to the running back unless they got someone back there they feel is going to be good. Oh, sorry, your name's not Christian McCaffrey. So it doesn't matter. And they're not going to have good enough receiving help. The biggest thing you're probably going to have is maybe working the tight end a little, but wait, Greg Olsen. So at the end of the day, it's the Panthers are not going into a good situation. Now, I know everything going on with the Chargers, Tyrod Taylor. Honestly, I feel for that guy. He has the worst luck at every franchise he goes to. Now, this time having his lung punctured by a team medical doctor, like, who has that happen? So it's just crazy to see everything that's kind of unfolded, but this will open the door for Justin Herbert, who I think is going to go out, sling that rock like it's nobody's business, and win this game by multiple scores. I think it's going to be Chargers by at least 10 points in this one. So looking at our next round of matchups, for the 425 slot, we have the Tom Brady-led Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 1-1, traveling to Mile High to take on the Broncos at 0-2. Kevin, who do you think takes this?
Mile High. Bucks win big in this one, and I'm talking big. This is going to be the breakout game with the Bucks when everything finally clicks. And I think Brady comes out swinging in this matchup. I think Leonard Fournette, they're going to use him heavily in this matchup. I expect anywhere between 20 to 25 carries for that individual, because they're going to ride the hat on this one with Fournette, the way he performed last weekend in that double touchdown performance that he had. I think Melvin Gordon on the other side is going to be used very heavily, probably over 30 plus touches, and they're just going to wear out with that Tampa Bay defense, the way they're going to get at it. And Tampa Bay is relatively healthy going into this matchup, so I think Tampa Bay wins big.
Interesting take. George, what do you think?
Absolutely. This is going to be a breakout game for Brady. There's been a little bit of talk about that he's 1-1 and that he doesn't have chemistry, and that he's still trying to figure it out. And then he has a problem with Bruce Arians, and they're just going to put that garbage talk from some, major networks to rest. And they're going to say, you know what, here we are, and we're a contender and we're legit. Brady throws easily for 210 or something like that. Not too crazy, because Leonard Fournette's going to toe the rock all day long. So, yeah, unfortunately, I'm sorry, Bronco fans, but it's not going to be a good year.
Honestly, when you look at this game, this is not going to be just a coming out party. This is going to be bashing the concrete wall to the ground party for Tom Brady and the Buccaneers, because honestly, 215, I see him honestly topping 300 because the Denver defense doesn't have anything to be able to stop these wide receivers at this point, nor the tight ends or the rest of this offense. Honestly, Leonard Fournette will have a great game running and catching, and it's going to be thanks to that great arm of Tom Brady against his super weak defense. Honestly, I don't think it's going to be even in question. I'm literally going to say this right now. Buccaneers by 17 minimum. So watch out. It's going to be a doozy. Man, Blake
College run up the score.
Yeah, Blake Bortles ain't even going to be able to save you. So, but looking at our next 425 game, Kevin, your Detroit Lions at 0-2 are traveling out to the desert to take on the 2-0 Cardinals. And we'll go ahead and throw it to George first. George, what do you think?
Well, as much as I am a huge fan of Kevin Waltham and his rugby prowess and his fitness, trying to get rid of this gut of mine, but his Lions' choice of football is just, it might be his only flaw, boys. It might be, because they are not going to win today. They're going to go to 0-3, I'm sorry to say. The Arizona Cardinals are deep right now. That Kyler Murray is having a breakout year. That second year after being a rookie, he's going to show up and cement himself as a top QB in this league. He's done nothing but show that the last 2 weeks. So I like Arizona, and I like their defense in this one to get a couple picks off of Stafford, and that'll really be the difference in the game.
You said only flaws being a Lions fan? Really?
Yes, because Kevin's a team. Come on. That's his only one.
Go Irish. Anyways, Kevin, what do you think about this?
The Lions have a strategy, and I'm sticking by that strategy. Okay. Forward down the field, charging team, you will not yield when the blue and silver wave. We go 0-3, losing for Lawrence, tanking for Trevor, however you want to call it. I am going after that Clemson quarterback. We need him. Matty Stafford, sorry. We need to put you on ice and move you aside and bring in the future. Okay. I do like the Lions, however, and the Galladay is back. So he has another weapon on there in the field to kind of spread things out. But the Lions do move to 0-3 on this one. Kyler Murray, if you have him on your fantasy team, he will blow up today.
Yes.
He's probably going to have a couple rushing touchdowns. He's probably going to have a couple throwing touchdowns and just torch this Lions secondary, just like Aaron Rodgers did the week before. So I will be watching probably the first 5 minutes of this game, turning it off and going to bed.
It's okay, man. You don't have to be, bitter about it. I feel your pain. But at the end of the day, though, the Lions do go 0-3 because the one thing they know how to do is lose. And sorry, it doesn't matter if Galladay's back or not. You don't have Calvin Johnson anymore, so it doesn't matter. Matty Ice needs to be put on ice. You're definitely tanking for Trevor, losing for Lawrence. We'll just call it getting the number one pick. And at the end of the day, Arizona is going to roll. I agree fully that Kyle Murray is going to have a great stat line for fantasy, so definitely play him. Another one also to make sure to play, D-Hop. Go play D-Hop. He's going to be a great play. And if you're not playing D-Hop, you're just an idiot anyways. So definitely Arizona is going to take this one by a wide margin. And now this next game, though, I'm proud to talk about because I'm going to love talking about the outcome of it. The Dallas Cowboys at 1-1 travel out to Seattle to take on the 2-0 and undefeated Seattle Seahawks at CenturyLink Field. Kevin, what do you think?
Seattle all day in this one. I know the Cowboys are riding high after that come from behind victory last weekend against the Atlanta Falcons. Sorry, you know how to blow leads out there. And I think Seattle just keeps on rolling. Russell Wilson, undoubtedly the best quarterback in the league right now. Yes, I said it. Russell Wilson over Mahomes. I think he is hot right now, and Seattle just rolls in this one. I don't think it's going to be a blowout, however. I think the Cowboys keep it close because I have liked the way their defense has played in so far, and they're kind of gaining a little bit of steam on this one. Zeke Elliott is probably have 1 or 2 touchdown carries on the night, but I do think Seattle takes this one by 10 points.
Ooh, George, what do you think?
I am going to have to agree. I mean, how can you not? Seattle is just running on all cylinders right now. Russell Wilson for MVP.
Yes.
You want to call it right now? Russell Wilson for MVP. Boom. Put it in.
He has 11 incomplete passes on the season.
Exactly.
And
then you throw in just the mere fact of DK Metcalf.
Yes.
Outside
Who?
Okay,
Oh,
he's
yes.
not getting hurt. He is fully healthy, and he is a monster of a man. He is the Braun Strowman of the football league right now.
Braun
Okay,
Strowman.
you like that? You like that?
I like
one.
that reference. I like that reference.
There you go. He's just a complete beast out there. I mean, I saw him catch one where the corner was all over him in perfect position, and he out muscled him for the ball. He's going to be that X factor that Dallas does not have right now. It's going to be a good game. It'll be a touchdown, maybe even a field goal. But when it comes to the X factor, I give it to Seattle, and they win.
I tell you what, it's going to be a crazy game because I have to absolutely agree on so many fronts. You know why? Because DK Metcalf is a great starting wide receiver for my balls, Zach Ertz, and it's going to be a great win today when we go out and he ends up catching multiple touchdowns. Yeah, I know you love that name, and
I do.
Naturally, I had to draft Zach Ertz as well because you got to. You just got to, and I have to say this just because of my buddy Chandler, who I know is watching, and hopefully Rocky, you're watching. Hopefully Ed, you're watching. You dirty Dallas fans. Guess what? Dallas is losing this one. Huge. And you're going to lose. I'm going to say by, get this. You think it's going to be close? 21 points. Seattle's going to go out and spank that ass. That's right. That's what's going to happen. You can't stop it.
Can't stop him.
Yeah.
He's got the moves to prove it and the flex. Look at that. There it is.
Gotta entertain the fans. Sorry.
There you go.
Try and entertain the fans. But man, I tell you what, though, it's still a great slate of games. 8:20 game.
Sure.
You ready for this one? You ready for this 8:20 game? I don't think you're ready for this 8:20 game. You have the 2-0 Green Bay Packers traveling down to New Orleans to take on the 1-1 Saints, who are going to be trying to bounce back after that loss to the Raiders. This one is one of those games I think could be one of the more entertaining games, but not just entertaining, but also kind of determine who's going to start getting that foothold for lead in the NFC, because these two teams are definitely going to be vying for it. Kevin, we're going to start with you.
Oh, I love this matchup. I think the only difference in this one is Michael Thomas being out, so those Saints don't have that weapon there for Drew Brees, and I think Aaron Rodgers takes this thing and they ride the hot hand, and their offense is clicking on all cylinders right now up in Green Bay, going off for 42.5 points a game, and I think they continue this against the Saints. So I think they're not going to put up 40 on them, but I expect they put up in the mid-30s against them, probably 5-touchdown game. I'm guessing Aaron Rodgers throws for about 3 touchdowns in this matchup. If you have them, make sure you start them. And I just think they keep clicking, keep moving in the right direction. Devontae Adams is a freaking beast. He showed that last weekend against us. Granted, we're the Lions, so.
At least you can be honest. It's okay.
At least you're honest, man. At least you're honest. You know what, Kev, though? I'm going to have to tell you this. I do not agree. I'm going against the Kev X Factor here, and I'm going to pick the New Orleans Saints to beat the Green Bay Packers. Alvin Kamara is going to have himself a game. He can catch. He can run right out of the backfield. He is going to have a monster game. And
have you seen Aaron Jones, though? Have you seen Aaron Jones?
I've seen Aaron Jones. I've seen Aaron Jones do
the sideline, those god-awful shades that he was wearing.
I've seen him do this year in and year out, where all of a sudden he blows up and he goes for 40-something points in fantasy, chalks up all kinds of yards, and then the next game, you know what he does? Oh, I don't know, 50 yards and a fumble lost. So I'm not confident in Aaron Jones just yet. Kamara is more consistent. And I like the New Orleans Saints in this game. It's going to be a battle. There's going to be a few key plays that will shift the game one way or another. But I like the Saints in this one. I don't know what it is. I think Drew Brees comes out and he uses his weapons like he does. He makes his receivers better. And he's going to make whoever comes in for Thomas's spot better. And Saints win by 5.
Honestly, with this matchup, though, the big thing I see is that while the Saints usually are good at utilizing their weapons, Drew Brees has been horrifically overthrowing receivers at points in times this season that I think could end up being a large area of concern if it keeps happening. And they're going to have to start relying more probably on the short game. Maybe Drew Brees is starting to lose a step a little with the deep ball and not able to get it out there. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just also not having Michael Thomas, which is also going to be a huge factor. But either way, it's something that's going to be a cause for concern. Alvin Kamara is going to have to step up big in this one, and not just for my ball Zach Ertz, because I somehow got him with the 8th pick in the draft, but just for the Saints in general. The Saints
drafting.
Hey, it was before he signed his extension. I guess people got spooked. All I know is that when I saw him drop at 8, I know I'm winning this league. But anyways, at the end of the day, it's gonna be the Alvin Kamara show if they want to have any chance in this. However, the Packers still have Aaron Rodgers. The Packers do have great weapons in Devontae Adams, and it's gonna be amazing to see how this game plays out. Because remember, we're still not in front of a crowd in New Orleans. So with that being said, this is literally gonna be talent versus talent. I think the Saints have the edge, and I think the Saints are gonna take this by 3. Just saying. So in our next matchup, the Monday night game to wrap up week 3, we have the matchup of the week, the 2-0 Kansas City Chiefs traveling to M&T Bank Stadium to take on the Baltimore Ravens, who are also 2-0, in a matchup of the Super Bowl MVP versus the league MVP. This is going to be one hell of a game. George, what do you think?
I'm going to stick with one of my predictions from last week, which is that the Kansas City Chiefs run the table and go undefeated this year. And it starts with this game. I got this Chiefs winning this game. Patrick Mahomes, he is on another level when it comes to just winning games. You know, he fights through adversity. He doesn't need to be super flashy. He knows when to buckle down, read the defense, take what they give you, and really just kind of, he is surgical with this. I'll even throw in another reference for you, just for you, buddy. He is the game. He knows how to be the cerebral assassin, as they say, with the nose and everything. But I like him, man. I like the Chiefs in this one. It's going to be a dogfight, though. It's going to be crazy.
Definitely is. Kevin, what do you think?
Good matchup, but I think Baltimore covers the spread on this one. They're favored by 3.5 points. And I think the Ravens pull this one out. I think that loss last year in the playoffs still stings for Lamar Jackson and playing in the big lights, losing there to the Tennessee Titans last year. I think they've had a good run at it so far. Granted, they've played the Browns and the Texans, so not much real stiff competition there. But you look on the other side, the Chiefs really haven't played anybody. They played a rookie last weekend when Terod went down. They played the Houston Texans right out of the gate. I do agree with George, though. Mahomes finds a way to win those games, especially last weekend's game when it looked like they were down and out, but pulling that thing out in overtime. But I think the Ravens have the upper hand in this one. I think the Ravens come away victorious by 6 points.
Yeah, this game is going to end up being a real doozy, and not just a doozy, but it's going to be a dogfight because this, in my opinion, is probably the 2 best teams in the entire NFL, and this is going to be a huge showcase of talent on both sides of the ball. This game is literally going to probably be decided by a field goal or less. But in this matchup, I'm honestly going to take the Ravens, just them being at home, being in their natural environment. And honestly, after seeing the Chiefs come away way too close against the Chargers, I think that there are holes that can be exploited when it comes to the Chiefs. The Chiefs aren't the team that are always going to win every single game, but they win them when they matter. However, remember that we're still in the regular season. It's still early on. Teams are still getting adjusted, but I think the Ravens have the edge in this one. So definitely going to be a very interesting week of NFL football, so definitely make sure you check it out. Everything kicking off in just under 2 hours, so it's going to be some great stuff. And, of course, we're going to report some more of it this upcoming next episode of Final Score, episode 75, so definitely make sure to check back then. But we also have another great entity we got to talk about, and that's none other than Jacksonville Rugby. Kevin, what can you tell us about them?
Yeah, our Jacksonville Rugby Football Club. I'd like to take time to thank them and the Jacksonville Wolverines Youth Rugby as well for being a sponsor of Final Score. Jacksonville Rugby Football Club is a Division II team and a member of the Florida Rugby Union. You can find the Jacksonville Rugby Football Club on Facebook at facebook.com/JaxRFC. That's JAXRFC. Or on their website at jaxrugby.org. You can also find the Jacksonville Wolverines Youth Rugby team on Facebook at facebook.com/Jacksonville Youth Rugby.
Absolutely. Great stuff. So definitely make sure to go check them out. But at this time, we're going to go ahead and shift quickly over to the NBA playoffs to give you an update of everything going on in the East and West, and it's been an absolute doozy, especially in the East. Miami Heat currently leading the Boston Celtics 3-2 in that series. The next game being tonight, Game 6 at 7:30 p.m. on ESPN. Definitely going to be really crazy. And then looking at the West, the LA has wrapped it up. Lakers win the series 4-1 against the Denver Nuggets and are now going to be awaiting the winner of the East. The NBA Finals, the NBA playoffs as a whole have been absolutely crazy this season, and not just because of everything with COVID, but just the action we've seen on the court has been just at an all-new high, I feel like, and guys are really just putting it out there. George, what's your take on these two series?
Well, for starters, we all know that the LA Lakers were going to go to the finals.
Mm-hmm.
Before COVID, before everything, it was LeBron and AD, and they were going to take this whole thing by storm. They were going to learn how to play with each other. They were going to get into the playoffs, and they were just going to run roughshod. Everyone wanted to try to talk up other teams like the Clippers or the Nuggets or the Jazz or the Rockets with, their combination of players and say, oh, they're going to unseat the Lakers. They're going to unseat the Lakers. And LeBron just sat there twiddling his thumbs going, okay, we'll see. And there he is already in the finals. They are just a dominant team right now. It's hard to stop that 1-2 punch. Especially with the way Anthony Davis is playing. You have a big man that can step back and drain a three or can drive the lane or post you up. He's just a triple threat on the basketball court. Extremely talented. And if I do, we shift over to probably the surprise of the year. It really is. And that is the Miami Heat. And the only reason why they're a surprise because everybody thought it was Boston's year. Everybody thought it was Toronto's year. Well, guess what? The Miami Heat are deep. They can run 10 to 12 players and through a starting rotation, even though they've shortened their bench as of late. They're young and fearless. They have great veteran leadership from Jimmy Butler. Hero coming out of nowhere the last game with, 33 points. Despite the loss in Game 5, that's not going to happen again. Game 6, the Heat close it out. Bam is pissed. He already told everybody this game of Game 5 was on him, and not because of offense and not because of buckets, but because of his defensive skills. He was not there defensively, and he owned it. So he's just going to be a force in Game 6 defensively. He's so pissed off right now that he's like, nope, there's no way that they're going to score that many points in the paint against me again.
Absolutely. Kevin, what do you think of these two series?
Honestly, I haven't watched much basketball because LeBron James is still in it, so I've kind of tuned basketball completely out. I do not want to see him win a championship.
Hey, we can't always be Detroit.
I'm a LeBron hater from the start, from his early days in Cleveland. Obviously, because he's going against the Pistons up there. So I've completely tuned this out. And the fact that the Orlando Magic got eliminated early, I've just completely tuned this out. I do not want to see the Lakers win. I'm with George on this one. I'm rooting for the Heat to go all the way, even though I am a Magic fan. So that pains me to even say that.
Yeah.
But I always try to side with the underdog. I was going for the Nuggets in this one. I'm glad they did steal one away, like I already said. Check back on the earlier episode. I said the Lakers will not sweep this. Denver will at least get one from them. But come on now. This was set up from the beginning. The Lakers going all the way through.
Yeah.
And there's rumor of NBA mafia mentality, man. Let's call it what it is.
This is
sometimes think, it's like, wait, LeBron's in the finals again? Oh, okay, makes sense. You know who else will also be in the finals again? Iguodala. How many finals is he going to be in?
That's a very good point.
I didn't think about that one.
Goes to the finals for what, like the 9th year in a row or something like that?
Something like that.
That would be so beautiful to see the Heat beat the Lakers, though.
It would, man.
It would.
They got to get through Boston first. Boston is not going away quietly. They are a talented team, okay? They don't have that killer instinct that they usually have, though. And that's what they're missing from Kemba, that they had with Kyrie, was that killer instinct.
Well,
Butler's got it. I expect Butler to have a game and have that killer instinct and close it out, but it's not going to be easy, boys.
If Celtics push this thing to Game 7, that's going to be troublesome.
Very troublesome.
I agree. I would rather see them close it out tonight than the Celtics push to a Game 7. Then I'll get nervous.
Yeah. And looking at it honestly, you know, with the Celtics not having Kemba, they also are lacking veteran leadership, I feel like, as well, because they've had a lot of inner locker room squabbling and fighting after some of these losses that have really, I think, been detrimental to their mindset to be able to win this series. That's why they're behind. But the Heat definitely have been the class, and also as an Orlando fan, it's hard to say that I think they are going to finish this out. They're going to finish it out tonight on ESPN, roll on to the NBA Finals, and I think they have a very legitimate shot to beat the Lakers, who are making their first appearance in 10 years. But this is also LeBron's 10th NBA Finals appearance. So it's going to be very interesting, all the storylines going into this, and we'll definitely see how it plays out. Definitely make sure to check back next week on Final Score, episode 75, because we're definitely going to have a lot more on this come then. But now we're going to shift gears even quicker to the NHL Stanley Cup and all the insanity that we've been seeing there, especially last night with the Tampa Bay Lightning and Dallas Stars taking it to double overtime for the Stars to win it 3-2, but the Lightning still lead the series 3-2. So it's going to be very interesting. George, what's your take?
Oof. Well, I mean, that's why I'm here, boys, right? We're talking Stanley Cup Finals, the greatest trophy in all of sports. Sorry, NBA, move aside. MLB, move aside. NFL, whatever. The best trophy in sports is the Stanley Cup. It's the only one that you can eat cereal, champagne, chocolate milk, and a bunch of stuff out of it. This has been a great final so far, all right? It has not disappointed. I know it's at a 3-2, and it was actually a 3-1. And what an double OT game winner from Corey Perry in front of the net. Just garbage goal, really, when it comes down to it. Manhandling that Lightning defense there. It has been a great series to see. It's been a great one to watch. I feel bad for anybody that is my age because we're looking at this right now at 35 years old, and Corey Perry and Joe Pavelski for the Dallas Stars at 35 have been lighting it up. Greatest stat that I could give you, Joe Pavelski now leads the NHL in postseason goals for anybody over the age of 35 with 13. Passing Wayne Gretzky, who had 11.
Crazy.
All right. That dude is on another level right now. The Lightning talent is disgusting. It pains me to say. It's like an Orlando Magic fan talking about the Heat. You know, it's a Panther fan here talking about the damn Lightning. FTB all the way, but damn it, they have brought their game. They have brought some grit in the forms of Pat Maroon and Blake Coleman, who they did not have in previous runs. Nikita Kucherov has also played very well. He has 26 assists this postseason, and he's a top goal scorer. So what does that tell you about his game right now? He is just not focused on just being a goal scorer. He's focused on being a game changer, and he has been. If Tampa wants to close this out, there's one thing I need, and that is for Andrei Vasilevskiy to steal a game. He hasn't stolen a game this series yet. Where's the 37 saves on 38 shots performance that freaking Anton Khudobin at 34 years old is turning in every win for the Stars so far? You know, he's stealing games and keeping the Stars in this series. You know, if Vasilevskiy wants to win this cup, he's got to steal a game. That's what it comes down to, in my opinion. That's what I've seen. I still think this goes 7, boys. I still think that on Monday, the Stars take the momentum from this double OT win. They force a game 7, and in game 7, anything can happen. The Stars ain't out of it yet. It's a hard one to climb right now, and the Lightning, they're favored. If I had to right this second, like I said before, my hockey IQ is saying I'm picking the Lightning, but my heart still says the Stars. and they could definitely close it out. But the only way they do is if Vasilevsky puts in a 40-save performance. He's got to steal one. He's too good of a goalie to not. That is my Stanley Cup final take. Hopefully my buddy Ray was watching. I don't know if he or he might be at brunch. You know, he's that kind of a guy.
Monday night, you're going to see Kucherov raising the cup on the ice. I'll be tuning into that instead of the NFL game, as much as I want to see the Ravens taking on the Chiefs there. My eyes are going to be glued to this matchup, just like they were last night at 1 a.m. watching this thing wrap up, or however late it was. It was insane just watching the skill level on the ice as the Lightning just moved that puck around. But I was kind of disappointed when it got into that second overtime period. Just no productive shots on net by the Lightning. A lot of dumping the puck in, and when they had the puck inside the blue line, they're just not getting good quality shots on net. They need to take shots, put shots on net, put that goaltender under pressure, and there's no guy even setting up in front of their goalie trying to deflect shots in that overtime period. We need to cause the disruption around the net and get some good quality shots on net. Granted, I mean, they're phenomenal moving the puck around the ice because I think there's one that I thought they were going to score on, and then the Dallas turns around and skates it down the ice and scores where it looked like it was going on the blue line. They get it right on the blue line. They put a shot behind the net, but Tampa put some good quality shots on net. That's the only way you're going to win this thing. But I think Monday night they pull out a close one, and Kucherov all smiles as he lifts the Stanley Cup nice and high around the ice.
And man, as long as Stamkos stays on the bench, they got a legitimate shot. I know
on with Stamkos, like mental case in his head completely.
Yeah, it is in his head, man. It's got to be. And you know what? I feel for the guy because that's got to be tough as an athlete, knowing that in game sevens you have 0 points, and then you come in game 3, you play for 3 minutes, you score a goal, and then you're like, you know what? I'm still not feeling it. I don't feel fit to play. I don't know if it's mental or if it's his body or if he just doesn't want to disrupt that chemistry that they got going. But it comes down to if Dallas forces a game 7, do they bring in Stamkos to kind of maybe try to give that?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
If they do, they're losing that game 7.
Yeah. You do not bring in Stamkos now. Now that he's kind of taken himself out of the series, you do not put him in.
I don't think so either. I think this is Victor Hedman's team.
Yes.
Put the C on that dude. That guy's playing at another level. And he's been an all-star, for many years. This postseason, he is definitely playing at another level. And he's going to be an X factor if they really want to win it too.
No matter the outcome of this series, Stamkos is getting shipped out of Tampa.
Yeah, he's going to go to Seattle.
Yeah.
And that's my future prediction. I mean, that'd be great for
Stamkos.
Oh, wow.
That'd be great for Stamkos, man. He gets a new fresh start, kind of like Marc-Andre Fleury did with Vegas, and he kind of has the ability and the draw to bring in the fans over there in Seattle.
Oh, yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised. But this is
Stevie Y pick him up.
Yeah, why? Right? Well, Stevie Y picks him up and takes him to Detroit. I don't know about that.
I don't know about all that, but you look at this final though. This final has been just really exciting, start to finish. I feel like there's been the Lightning have been able. The one thing I've been seeing, the Lightning have been able to really press the puck down the ice and be able to put the pressure they need to try and put themselves in position. They don't need to rely on Stamkos. They don't need to do that. They need to rely on what has gotten them to this point. Because at the end of the day, you don't need a flippy-floppy player to come in and mess up the chemistry of your team. So I still think, though, the Stars do force the game 7. If you remember, I said Lightning in 7. So at the end of the day, Stars force it. We get to game 7. Lightning win it. And then they're lifting Lord Stanley's Cup. So I think it's going to be some great stuff, honestly.
My prediction there. Yeah.
Give me more overtime games.
Yeah, more overtime games is always good. My final prediction is going to go one of two ways. If the Lightning win it, they win it on Monday night. But if the Stars win it, they're winning it, obviously, on Wednesday. Because if you go to a game 7, Lightning don't win in game 7. The momentum shifts in the Stars.
Wins on Monday night, they're taking the series.
They're taking it, yeah. And Joe Pavelski wins it in overtime with a crazy deflection.
Well,
like
you know
I said.
what? You know where you can take it? You can take everything and all this and go over to all of our content platforms over on Google Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, TuneIn, Podbean, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and Apple Podcast. Go on and search Final Score, one word, and give us a like and a follow. That way you can get the latest content from Final Score with all of our episodes, all of our latest interviews, the rugby review, all of it there on all of our content platforms. So definitely make sure to go check it out. See, I try to do interesting segues.
Such a pro, man. That was just a pro move, dude. Like pure thoughts on that ad read and that transition.
You know, I just do what I
Almost
can.
cried.
I just do what I can, just like all the teams that try to do everything they could yesterday in college football week 4. See, did it again. And there was a lot of great and crazy things that happened. One of them was not Notre Dame playing, because guess what? Notre Dame didn't play. We postponed our game thanks to 13 positive COVID tests. Yay. So there was that. But anyways,
That's like, how is that gonna play out? Like, how do we even see that potentially playing out? I mean, a team all of a sudden, or multiple teams in a particular conference start getting COVID, and what, they shut down that particular conference or that team?
well, the ACC,
I mean,
the ACC said that they need at least 8 teams to be able to continue the ACC schedule. So as long as they don't fall below that number, I guess we have football. Notre Dame has postponed their game, though. It's not canceled. They're going to play it out December 12th. So that game against Wake Forest will still happen at this point. Just won't be this past weekend. So we'll definitely see how things shake out. They're expecting everybody to make full recovery. Everybody's in quarantine right now. They're just awaiting negative tests to be able to go play the next game. So we'll see what happens, man. I don't know. But one thing, though, that is going to be happening, and this is 100%, without a shadow of a doubt, going to be happening, and that is the Pac-12 will be resuming play November 6th with a 7-game conference schedule. What do you guys think of this? George, we'll start with you.
That's interesting to me. I mean, I really thought that the Pac-12 was just going to opt out right off the gate based on everything that was going on. I'm kind of thrown back by it, but then I also feel like they just, they did not want to be not included in this year.
Yeah.
And I think for them, it really has to do with the college athletes and the student athletes and getting a year in. I don't see the Pac-12 making a huge impact when it comes to the college football playoff with just such a small sample size. I think it has to do more with the trying to have some sense of normalcy. These are young kids, man. We forget that sometimes. These are student athletes that, they live and breathe football, or they live and breathe whatever sport they're playing. And to not have a year is sad for them. It brings down their spirit a little bit. And I think the Pac-12 was just trying to do the right thing and get some sort of season in and, lift that community or that school up a little bit and just have a good year, and to try to start something better.
Absolutely. Kevin, what do you think?
I think they need to be banned from the college football playoff. I mean, they're not playing a full schedule. They shouldn't be included. If you're going out there playing 6 games, come on now. Well, why even have a season? Just scrap it.
It's 7 games. Remember?
7 games. 7 games back to woo. They shouldn't be included.
Oh man, it's gonna be crazy. Well, the only reason
play 8 games or more, like the Big Ten is playing 8 games, and that qualifies you for the college football playoff.
Man, 1 game makes the difference.
Jump in there and start jumping these teams that have kicked off in September and say, "Oh, well, we're not playing till late October, November, and we're going to be included just because our name and our logo is older than your name and logo."
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's
personal. I don't like these big schools getting in because their names, like Notre Dame being ranked every year just because of their name and their logo.
52-0, bro. Anyways, at the end of the day, though, what I see, the only reason the Pac-12 is doing this, and the only reason Big Ten's doing it, there is revenue to be had. So they have to make something back. But on top of it, they've been able to secure rapid testing to be able to try and ensure that student athletes are going to feel safe and not want to turn around and sue the universities if they get COVID and die. So they're trying to do everything they can from a liability standpoint to do what they can to carry on. And that's the big thing. Everybody's trying to carry on. And if everybody had done the right thing back, beginning of the year, though, we wouldn't even have to worry about this. But that's a whole nother thing. But
yeah,
play's not bad. Pac-12 do want to be included. And if you want to have a college football playoff, if you want to have a national champion be crowned, you got to have everybody at least included in some way. And that's the big thing that I look at. If you don't have all five conferences in there, then it doesn't matter. This is a sham championship. It's a sham season. So you can't do that unless you have everybody.
Throw up the asterisks, man.
Throw an asterisk on it, but at least let's have everybody out there.
There's no such thing as Power 5 conference, and the American Conference is showing beating up on all the other conferences right now so far.
Go ahead and give us your UCF update. We already know you want to. Go ahead.
The University of Central Florida, 13 ranked in the nation. We should be higher. Goes out and dominates ECU after we just dominated Georgia Tech. Followed by, or leading the way, is our Dylan Gabriel, only a sophomore, completing school record 18 consecutive passes. His second straight 400-yard passing game.
Mm-hmm.
If he is not on the Heisman radar, it's because everyone in college football, ESPN, CBS News, everything is against us. UCF versus everyone. Right? If we played Notre Dame next week, we would put 50 on Notre Dame.
I think we're getting a call. Yep. I think Chris, do you hear that? Your phone must be ringing because I think UCF is calling saying, "Hey, we're going to sponsor you guys."
Yeah, right.
Because you guys are completely pumping the UCF tires. Dude, UCF is legit. I give you that. They're a solid football team. They're a solid squad. They just need to play a little bit better competition, man. Where's
if they would allow UCF to play better competition? They're not allowing us in the SEC. They're not allowing us in the ACC because they know what's going to happen if they allow us in. UCF would take off if they had that big sponsorship, TV dollars that Florida gets to deal with, that your hat that you're wearing gets to deal with, even though you don't do anything with that money that you're being dealt. Miami gets that money. I mean, FSU and Miami don't want us in the ACC because we're going to disrupt things as far as recruiting goes in the state of Florida. And if UCF gets that big money, I mean, they're going to explode on the map. This isn't a Boise State of pass. We're not going to go away. We're going to keep on stomping, kicking the doors in everywhere we go. And every time we're matched up against an opponent, like even the loss out there in the desert last year against LSU, we played a Joe Burrow's LSU team and only lost by a touchdown. We went into Auburn and whooped that ass down there in Atlanta in the Peach Bowl. We played Georgia and beat them in the Liberty Bowl. We played Alabama back in 2000 and beat them.
He's
Look at
heated.
this guy. He's really just going down the whole line. Who'd you play in 1972 that was big? Come on now. Nobody.
How about you join the Pac-12 and call it a day?
We are the most successful team looking at the numbers. And as far as time, I mean, we've only been a Division I program since like 1995, 1996.
But the big thing is, how many rings do you have?
Short time span where Notre Dame's been around since what, 18 something?
Hey, well, you know what, man? Maybe this is the year.
But see these numbers. These are actual national championships. These are real.
There you go.
You know how old those numbers are? That's back when
88's hidden by the chair. 88's hidden by the chair. Okay, so at the end of the day, you haven't won anything yet, though. Seriously. But UCF is one of those teams that definitely could be able to have that shot, especially after a couple of the huge upsets that happened this past weekend with the number 3 Oklahoma Sooners losing to Kansas State 38-35 and number 6 LSU dropping their game to Mississippi State 44-34, where you saw the Mississippi State quarterback throw for 600 plus yards to get that win. So it was an absolutely insane day. So you're going to see 3 and 6 drop. Notre Dame, who didn't even play, is probably going to rise up, but UCF, I think, definitely could be a huge benefactor here. George, what do you think?
Oh, absolutely. I think UCF, Miami, Florida, I think the Florida teams do benefit from a lot of huge SEC matchups that are coming up and some of these upsets that are happening. You're already looking at easily a possibility, if they can pull it out, of multiple Florida teams in the college football playoff in the top 4 at the end of the day, depending on what happens. Now, mind you, these Florida teams, they will have to step up. Florida does have to play against LSU. Florida does have to go and beat Georgia. Next week or the week after, I think next week is a bye week. But the University of Miami, they completely stomped the Noles last night. It was just disgusting to watch. I still watched it, and I told myself I was still going to wear this hat because I am a true fan of Florida State. They will come back from this. Just like Kev is a true Lions fan, he's still rocking the hat, good or bad. So I respect that. But you know what? University of Miami is a legit team right now if they can get out of their own way. And that is not get overly confident and bring in all this crazy swag that they love talking about and just say, hey, we can actually win this. But keep the swag to a minimum. If you go and beat Clemson in that matchup, then maybe you can bring it out just a little bit. But when they bring it out so much, and when they bring it out and it's like just too damn big for their head, then they go and lose to a team like, Arizona State.
They will lose next weekend. They're going to lose by like 2 or 3 touchdowns next weekend against Clemson.
It's quite possible. Because the flag is coming out with the damn crib rings and the chains and all the damn.
It's getting pretty wild with all the
bling. Getting wild. They get spanked by Clemson, then they're just going to go back and hide in their hole.
That's what I've been saying is that Miami is highly overrated. To be number 12, even though you went out and, you spanked FSU. FSU is garbage right now. You go out and you beat UAB. It's UAB for crying out loud. They're acting like Miami is the second coming of like the Coker days or something. This is not some
every year. ESPN
they do it every year.
But this year is worse than ever.
And I've heard every single year the first 3 weekends of college football, Miami swaggers back, and then all of a sudden they shit the bed like they will against Clemson next week, and then they're just going to go in hibernation, like George said.
And then that'll just help UCF.
Yep.
That'll just help UCF, man.
And
so
you
boys keep chugging along, and when you get into the college football playoff, prove it that you deserve to be with the big boys.
We're playing with that chip on our shoulder, and Dylan Gabriel, really, I'm being serious about this one. Dylan Gabriel, 2 400-plus performances, 415 last week against Georgia Tech, 408 this week. He needs to be in the Heisman conversation.
Absolutely. Honestly, when you have those kind of performances, you can't knock it. But you know who else also brings performance to the table? Podcast City Network. And that's right. You can check out our parent network, Podcast City Network, as well as Final Score at podcastcity.net/Final Score, as well as checking out Podcast City Network on social media, on Facebook, /Podcast City Network, on Twitter at Podcast City Net, on Twitch at Podcast City Net, and on YouTube by searching Podcast City Network. And you can't beat everything that Podcast City Network brings to the table. It's so epic. Seriously, it is. So many new shows always debuting, like Double Dime, which you can catch tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, which we'll talk a little bit more about that later. But you can also, if you have your own podcast or been wanting to start a podcast, you can come to Podcast City Network and join the network. That's right. We're always looking for new shows because they offer an array of membership services, including logo design and branding, social media advertising, live podcast hosting, and much, much more. You also gain access to our network of shows to help with cross-promotion guests and overall reach, while also becoming a part of our ever-expanding PCN community based on people helping people. And the best part is, no membership fee. So what are you waiting for? Go to podcastcity.net/join now and join the fastest growing independent podcast network around, Podcast City Network. God, it's a mouthful, but always has to be said. But now we're going to go ahead and shift our gears on over to Give or Go. We only have 2 little stories today. One's a little bit bigger than the other, but we're going to kick off with the first one. The NCAA committee has sat down to consider waiving record requirements for bowl game eligibility. Give or Go. George, we'll start with you.
Oh, dude, I don't know, man. I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna want to give this one to Kev because I feel like he's gonna really lay it in there. I'm gonna give.
Oh man, he's giving it, Kev.
This is a money grab. This is a money grab. This is why we have all those crazy names for bowl games: the Bad Boy Mowers, the Marshmallow Bowl, the Metcom.com Bowl, all these crazy. Next one,
the KFC spicy chicken bowl,
So it's a money grab by the businesses. The NCAA is a business. These academic institutions are businesses. That's why they wanted to get football back and going. That's why you've seen the Pac-12 get up and going and the Big Ten get up and going. It is a money business situation. It's not about academics at these institutions. It's how much money we can bring in. Same thing goes for the bowl games. We need all the bowl games slated. If you're a business owner, why? So we can bring and just stuff your face full of all these advertisements, and you're going to watch a little amount of football and a shit ton of advertisements throughout. And we're just going to keep on plugging these ads all week long and throwing all this gear on these student athletes that they have to wear with the logos all over it. So it's a money grab. It's a business deal. Let's pump out as many bowl games as we can and feed into the Americans loving football. Even if it's a crap game, guess what? We're going to watch it. If it's the Bahama Bowl, like UAB versus Middle Tennessee State, guess what? We're still going to watch it because it's football. Doesn't work. It's not good football, but we're going to watch it.
You know, I'm not going to lie.
And when it comes to that, man, it's just a shame. These college athletes overall still not getting a piece of that pie. There's been talk about it, and there's, been question about not yet. I do think that, I don't know if you boys heard about this, but that deal with EA Sports as a possibility for the NCAA game to start coming back through video games and the law that was passed in terms of being able to use your likeness rights for that. I think that is going to be the starting point, but that's still years away, boys.
Actually, I have an update.
You know why I don't want that game to come back? I've lost so many hours of my life during college and high school days playing that game.
And who did you lose to a lot of those times?
PTSD. You got PTSD with that game, dude.
Yeah, who'd you lose to a lot of those times? Yeah.
One game.
It's so ridiculous. But the big thing, though, I do have an update with this, is that there actually has been legislation finally drawn up by congressmen that are going to be brought forth on NIL laws in the beginning of 2021. So we actually could see a vote before the 2021 season. So it's still not 100% yet, but the wheels are turning. So we could see things happening a lot sooner than we think. So, but I'm not going to lie, though. I think Kevin summed up a lot of the stuff with the bowl game eligibility requirements, that this definitely is a money grab. So, yeah, Kevin, I'm not even going to say any more on it. I think you hit the nail on the head. But we're going to go ahead and go to our second give or go. Michael Jordan and NASCAR driver Denny Hamlin have bought a charter to field a NASCAR race team headed by driver Bubba Wallace. So very interesting turn and surprising, not surprising. Let's see what your guys' take are. George, we'll start with you.
Well, I am surprised because, excuse me, I'm surprised. I'm going to be honest. I'm surprised, but then I'm not surprised once you read through it all. It makes sense business-wise for Michael Jordan to get involved with this, having Bubba Wallace as his main driver. He's teaming up with a solid team. Michael Jordan is a very good businessman in terms of that, and he knows sports business. He knows how, he saw this, saw an opportunity, and, just, I guess, all the pieces came into place. For him, he was able to get a good driver. He was able to get a good team, and he felt comfortable with just pushing it through. So why the heck not? In this day and age, there's no reason whatsoever why Bubba Wallace should not be driving.
Absolutely.
He's a fantastic driver. He's a great personality. He's a good person, and he's got talent to be on the NASCAR circuit. So yeah, he should be there.
Absolutely.
And, now he's got the backing of somebody that believes that he has stake in the game. So I think it's a great fit and a good start.
Well, one thing with Bubba Wallace is that Bubba Wallace, even with driving with Richard Petty Motorsports, Richard Petty and the entire race team and everybody fully believed in Bubba Wallace, always gave him 100% of their support publicly, behind closed doors, whole nine. And Bubba Wallace has said nothing but good things. But he wants to be able to try and create something new. And that's the big thing I see here. Michael Jordan, if I am not mistaken, and correct me, fans, if I am wrong, he is the first African-American NASCAR owner on the top tier series that they've had in the entire history of NASCAR. And you're partnering with arguably one of the top 10 drivers in the past 15 years in NASCAR, and Denny Hamlin, coming from the Joe Gibbs Racing side, who's been driving the number 11 FedEx car for since he came into this top series. So to see these two come together, and Michael Jordan apparently has been a big NASCAR fan for years, has been wanting to do this for 14 years. So to finally see all this come together with one of the most prominent African-American drivers there is, with one of the most notorious and famous basketball players of all time, like, it's just crazy to see how all this is coming together. And honestly, could, I think, create a new wave of not only NASCAR racing, but NASCAR fans. So honestly, this could be really big for the sport. Kevin, what do you think?
I mean, Jordan's always been involved. He's Carolina roots deep, and that's where NASCAR got its start in North Carolina. So, and he's from 2003 to 13, he's been involved with the AMA Superbike team. So he's always been around motorsports. So this is something that's always been a dream of his, and now he's got it, and he's just going to throw a bunch of money at it, and hopefully it sticks. But we've seen him before have ownership stakes in like the Hornets, the Bobcats, Charlotte Bobcats, and that didn't work out so well for him. So I don't see the team being successful. You can't just throw money at something and hope that it takes off. I don't think Bubba Wallace is as good of a driver as what these others are thinking. I think there's hell of a drivers like Harvick and all these others that are just going to continue to dominate NASCAR. It's not the sport. I mean, there's a lot of luck in the sport that goes along with it. Denny Hamlin is a good addition, though, to the team if you want to start. But right now, they have a lot of work cut out for them to have this team up and running by February.
Yeah, and it could take a lot to get to that point, but we'll definitely see how it plays out. They're still playing through the rest of the NASCAR season currently, with just, I think, a handful of races left, if I'm not mistaken. So once all that ends, I'm sure Denny Hamlin will be able to refocus onto this with Michael Jordan, be able to be that voice of experience, of credibility to be able to help Michael Jordan build this team, because they're getting great engineering support, engine support, chassis support from other teams. Like I think, if I'm not mistaken, Ganassi's even involved in this. So it's going to be interesting to see how all this plays out. But something else that's also great to see, if you just peruse on over, is podchaser.com, and the fact that Final Score is on podchaser.com. All you have to do is just go on there and search Final Score, one word, and give us a follow, a rating, and review, because your daily source of podcast discovery is no longer just Apple Podcasts. They're not the only credible place anymore to rate and review podcasts. You can follow creators, browse every podcast ever, and rate and review episodes all at ease by just going to podchaser.com. So definitely make sure to check it out. Give us a following, a rating, a review. Let us know how we're doing, because we always try to bring the very best show that we can, week in and week out. But now that brings us to the week ahead, and there's been a lot of crazy stuff going on. Of course, Double Dime episode 5 will be live tomorrow night at 7 p.m. on Twitter and Periscope. All you have to do is search at Fixed Edge, and you'll be able to find them there. Those guys were actually at the Jacksonville Jaguars, Miami Dolphins Thursday night football game, and we're trying to go live, but had issues going live from the stadium. So they're going to be talking more about that game tomorrow night, so definitely make sure to check them out. Also, we're going to have some more with the rugby review. What can we expect from the rugby review, Kevin?
Playoffs from the NRL, the final series kicking off. That kicks off Friday, so I'll be bringing everything NRL playoffs the week ahead. Hopefully my Rabbitohs come out victorious that Sunday morning before I go on live. Otherwise, I'm going to be an angry bird here on Final Score.
Oh, most definitely. Also, if you missed the huge announcement, Podcast City Network and Draft Day have come together again with City Limits Tap Room to have the Draft Day Halloween party, October 30th, starting at 7 o'clock at City Limits Tap Room in beautiful D-Land, Florida. So definitely make sure that if you're around in the area to come out and check this event out. Karaoke starting at 7 p.m. The Draft Day podcast live will be going live on the Podcast City Network Facebook page at 9 p.m. And we will be welcoming S Money and M Squared of Double Dime. They're going to be coming in, and they're going to be our guests for the evening, and are going to help us pick our beer of the show. It's going to be a great time. Costume contest at midnight, $500 in cash prizes. Definitely come out and check it out. You can go to facebook.com/Podcast City Network for more info. Definitely going to be so great. I honestly cannot wait. I know I'm getting down because City Limits always takes good care of us. So it's going to be some great stuff. But we also have, what was that thing? Oh, yeah, episode 75 of Final Score next Sunday, 10 a.m. Eastern. Definitely come check us out live on Facebook Live. It's going to be a great time. We're going to give you the updates, like we said, with NRL action as well as NFL, college football, hopefully a Stanley Cup. who knows? It's going to be so much craziness going on, so much to report. As you see, we have gone an almost solid 2 hours today, longer than we normally do, but that's okay because we try to bring it to you guys, the fans. But sadly, that is the end of our episode. We thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next week. And, of course, I couldn't do it without these two guys over here, Kevin Wathen and Jorge DeMoya. Thank you guys so much for joining and coming in and giving us your expertise. But until next week, I'm Chris, that's Kevin, and that's George. And you guys just watch Final Score. Y'all have a great night.
Podcast City Network.